Welcome back to another episode. I don't know that we even introduced to the last episode, so sorry about that. But this week we are bringing you spooky North Carolina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what she said.
I started this episode. You didn't put that in the fridge? Damn.
Taste test in real time.
It's not going to taste the same as if it was cold. Is it sour?
It's thick.
Ew. What kind of drink is that?
It's called Bio Light Premium Electrolyte Supplement.
Mm.
It's IV in a bottle. So it's. Did you ever see those Hoist drinks that they used to have at like Well, they've got them at like the gas station by the interstate by where you work.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger one.
Mm-hmm.
And those are Gemma's favorite types of drinks like this.
Mm-hmm.
They used to have them at the grocery store up by my house, but they don't carry them anymore. They're just they're not really thick, but it tastes thick because it's like.
See, I'm not big on like electrolyte drinks. They taste like salt.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
But I need it after today. It just makes me real thirsty.
Yeah. There was something I was going to mention before we started, but I don't remember what it was, so it must not have been that important. I'll think of it halfway through, and then we'll go off on
a tangent.
Yeah. But we'll get right on into it. North Carolina. So,
Heads Carolina.
Paint Rock is more than. I was gonna finish it and then I couldn't remember it for a second, and then I was like,
and then I also, as soon as I started saying it, I was like, well, this episode's getting taken down
immediately. Algorithm too good, matched it too well.
I sound like, is it Jody Messina?
Yeah, Jodine.
It's not Jodine. It's Jodine.
Jodine?
It's Jodine.
Jodine Messina.
Yeah. I'm gonna Google it.
Look it up. I think you might be right. I think you're right. I think I'm.
Yes, JO space DEE.
Oh, okay, Jodie Messina. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. Okay, anyway.
Tell me you've been saying that Jodine.
I haven't.
Okay, I was like, please, God,
I was thinking of somebody else.
Please.
Whose name is Jodine, and she does not sing country music. Anyway. Paint Rock is a more than 100-foot tall rock cliff that contains ancient pictographs that are believed to be as old as 5,000 years. Paint Rock is also reported to be one of the most haunted places in North Carolina. You will see a theme throughout these. Most of these are purported to be the most haunted place in North Carolina.
Gotcha.
So, the cliff is nestled in a deep horseshoe bend in the French Broad River and is enormous and splinters in all different directions. Paint Rock, or known as Paint Rock, there are ancient pictographs which were some of the earliest forms of written communication, and these symbols convey what words would have meant. Paint Rock is a little bit more difficult to find, but there is a historic marker placed about 5.5 miles away from the site, which is about 7.8 miles northwest of Hot Springs. The cliff is actually located on Paint Rock Road, which is near the Tennessee border. If you're not interested in the paranormal, A, what are you doing listening to this podcast?
Okay, bye.
And B, the pictographs are not that easy to find. The Paint Rock is 3 times as long as it is tall, and it technically has more than one side, so it is difficult to find the symbols on such a large surface, and most accounts place them high up on the rock's face, so you can't see them or get to them very easily. Early indigenous people created these designs while they were on their way to the healing waters at nearby hot springs, which was considered to be a sacred site. And historians believe that the paintings may have served as spiritual waypoints. The area was first recorded by European settlers in the 1790s, and the outcropping in the cliff provides a natural shelter and the view from the top stretches for miles. This strategic location later bordered Cherokee lands and sat on the only road for miles, right next to the French Broad River. In the late 1800s, a guard's blockhouse was built to protect the settlers' borders with Cherokee country. The highly confrontational environment could be part of the reason why this spot has so many paranormal vibes and why activity has been highly reported. As legend has it, long ago, nefarious, beautiful maidens would lure men into the waters along Paint Rock in order to drown them. It is said that the men would be awoken by the sound of beautiful singing. They would be lured by the siren song and would find themselves looking at the reflection of a beautiful Cherokee woman in the water. Compelled to reach out for her, some unknown creature would pull them into the water and drown them. Hikers and campers say that they tread carefully near the water in fear of meeting the same fate. Whether this is simply a cautionary tale or a genuine haunting, it has captured the attention of many over the years and only serves to deepen the otherworldly aura of Paint Rock. Many have reported getting, quote, weird vibes while visiting the area, while others have reported seeing orbs or hearing the sounds of disembodied voices, perhaps the imprint of past lives that have lived and died in the area. And that was for... What is crazy to me is a lot of these places, and this is why I feel like I'm like got a healthy sense of skepticism, is what I find in like researching some of these places is it's like, oh, most haunted place in XYZ, and then there's no evidence to support that statement. And it's like, where, and you go, and I could read 5 articles and they'll all say this exact same thing. It irritates the hell out of me. I try to find like stories that are like that where it's like vague, and then because just for like I like to have like a shorter one, and then I'll really dive into like 2 of these. But yeah, that was, I was like, where's all the ghost stories? Right. How is this haunted? You've just told me there might be a siren, but that's about it, and weird vibes. So, you're welcome.
So, as you're reading said story, my phone buzzes. I look, and it's one of the parents from the soccer team. Yeah. And
I'm sorry, I have the hiccups again. So,
she said she knows in about a week her child's going to be bugging her about fall season already. And I'm like, tell her to go work out in the yard. Like, go
practice.
Go get to it. She's like, I know, that's what I tell her. She said she needs to go run and work on her endurance. And she said that her child said that she sees TJ doing the clock it thing the whole time she's doing it. Because that child does that all the time. Like if she does something good, she'll look over at us and go, and so TJ started doing it back to her. So that's their little thing now. Cute. Every time she does something good, he's like, oh, clock it. So I giggled. So if y'all heard that, sorry. I was giggling at Brittany's not funny story. Rather serious story. Anyway, as per usual, here's some of the laws that I found that are kind of crazy out of the state of North Carolina. All right, y'all ready? Here we go. In Barber, fights between cats and dogs are prohibited. While it sounds like that law should go without saying, it was apparently important enough at one point to become an official regulation, whether it was intended to prevent organized animal fights or simply to keep peace in town. The rule remains one of North Carolina's stranger laws. So,
yeah.
I thought that was pretty... How are you supposed to... I mean, if it's not like an organized fight type situation, if it's just like a brawl in the street, who's enforcing this? What are we doing? Are they putting them in jail? North Carolina has an unusual law stating that elephants cannot be used to plow cotton fields. This is often linked to the days when traveling circuses toured through like rural farming communities, and occasionally elephants were used for like publicity stunts or labor demonstrations. But But in some versions of the law, especially around Nag's Head, the restriction specifically mentions elephants being used for plowing fields. Though few modern farmers are considering putting this circus elephant to agricultural work, the law still exists. And another elephant-related law in North Carolina: if you leave an elephant parked at a parking meter, you are expected to pay the meter just as you would for a car. This also dates back to like the circus era.
Yeah.
In Asheville, sneezing on city streets is technically illegal. This likely came about during a period when the cities were deeply concerned with like sanitation.
Yeah. Maybe like Spanish flu era.
Right. So there's that.
That's probably good. Go to jail. Sneeze on me, go to jail.
I mean, it doesn't say sneezing on people. It's just sneezing in general. God
Jail.
forbid you have allergies. Look who's talking, Miss Allergy Queen over there.
I cover my face.
Well, okay, but you're still in the streets. You're sneezing. You're going to jail.
I'll do my time.
In Raleigh.
Then I won't be out in the pollen.
In Raleigh, an old custom-based law claimed that before a man could propose marriage, he was expected to be inspected by all of the barnyard animals on the young woman's family property to ensure that he would fit into farm life harmoniously. So it's obviously not enforced today.
No.
But, you know, that kind of goes back to the agricultural roots in North Carolina.
Does the family pig approve?
Wilbur, what do you think? In Nag's Head and other parts of the state, singing out of tune. Oh, this one got me. Singing out of tune in public for too long was once considered punishable. Some versions say.
With what?
Some versions say that you could be fined for singing off key for more than 90 seconds. This strange idea became famous because the case of William Linkall from Lumberton, a member of a Methodist church choir and the so-called Bad Singing Club. He was once charged with disturbing the peace because of his terrible singing. A judge originally fined him 1 penny, but the decision was overturned after appeal. The story became legendary and is used as an example of North Carolina's odd legal system. And I just wanted to say that on one of the
I love
links,
it when we get like the specific person behind the reason why some crazy law exists.
On one of the links that I used where this came from, the picture that they used was Fergie singing the national anthem.
Oh my God.
I thought that was the funniest thing. In Kill Devil Hills, bicyclists are required to keep both hands on the handlebars while riding.
No trick shots.
No trick shots.
Don't you dare wave at your neighbor on your bike ride.
That's what I was about to say.
White people head nods only.
Do the grin, the no teeth grin.
I'm very bad about that.
North Carolina has extremely detailed bingo regulations under state law. Bingo games can only occur twice a week, and there must be at least 48 hours between them. Each bingo session is limited to a maximum of 5 hours because lawmakers wanted to prevent excessive gambling. Alcohol is also prohibited during bingo games to ensure participants remain sober and clear-headed. Charitable organizations must obtain a bingo license before hosting games, and state enforcement agencies known as ALE special agents and bingo administration officials oversee compliance. And these laws make bingo in North Carolina surprisingly regulated compared to other states.
That's probably good though, because I think a lot of those like bingo halls are very predatory to old people.
Yeah.
Very like having watched like someone that I'm not gonna like say who it is, but like somebody in my life had spent a lot of money at gambling, like at a gambling hall, or at a bingo hall, and it very much triggers like the same part of the brain that has to have, like, if you have one drink, yeah, if you have like it triggers the same part of the brain that, like, if you have one drink, you have to have 5,
right?
Or you can't stop or whatever. So like the first time she heard me talk about going to a casino, please don't, be careful, and I'm like, no, girl, I don't play when it comes to my money. I take 20, maybe $40 tops is what I've personally spent at a casino. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Be it 10 minutes, 2 hours.
I'll watch somebody else do it, but I'm not going to sit there and waste my money.
Right.
So you ain't got to worry about that. I'll have my other vices. So, yeah, I completely agree with that. And I can completely understand that, because otherwise you've got people who will sit there every day, all day, and spend all of their money.
Yeah.
Just trying to win, even a fraction of it back.
Right.
And think that they've won because they got something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I won $500 at bingo. Yeah, but you spent $1,100.
Yeah.
So,
North Carolina law states that unmarried couples who falsely register themselves as husband and wife at hotels, inns, or boarding houses for immoral purposes may face a Class 2 misdemeanor.
This sounds so North Carolina.
Some interpretations even state that registering as a married couple could legally imply marriage itself. This law dates back to far more conservative era when morality laws were heavily enforced. Mm-hmm. It's rarely enforced today.
Yeah. They don't ask you anymore unless it's like,
right.
Like at I don't know, some place where you have a honeymoon or whatever.
Right.
Or you book the honeymoon suite or something, they'd probably ask.
Do they even ask, though?
I've never been asked.
I mean, neither.
But I also haven't booked my own hotel in years. So.
Stealing, this one was weird. Stealing used kitchen grease is considered a serious crime. In 2013, the state strengthened laws against grease theft after used cooking oil became valuable for biodiesel production.
Okay.
Stealing grease, according to this law, stealing grease worth less than $1,000 is treated as a misdemeanor, while stealing grease valued over $1,000 becomes a Class H felony. It is also illegal to damage grease containers or place false ownership labels on them. The law exists because restaurants began losing large amounts of used oil to organized grease thieves. Imagine
organized grease crime.
Imagine that this is like your bag, is that you're in an organized grease thief.
Imagine if you've got a friend and you're like, I don't know how he makes his money. He's just like, he doesn't have like a high paying job.
I imagine.
And then you find out this son of a bitch is working with an underground organized grease crime network.
I'm like imagining like old school like mobs, like mobsters, like gangs.
Saying here.
Yeah. We're gonna go steal the grease.
I'm sorry I did that. Yeah. Meanwhile, they probably just like dress as like line cooks and go in and put like a different company's label on like the gallon, like the 5-gallon containers or whatever. Not 5-gallon, but like the 50-gallon things.
Canisters.
Wild.
All right. You can go on to your next one.
Okay. A historic marker placed by the William G. Pomeroy Foundation in 2023 says that Lydia's Bridge has been linked to ghostly sightings since the 1920s. And it notes, since the 1920s, an apparition of a young woman has been seen hitchhiking here, only to disappear when drivers come to her aid. This is on a historical marker. Whispers of an eerie legend have persisted for over a century, and it echoes a tragedy of many urban legends. At Lydia's Bridge, it is said that a young woman called Lydia was returning home from a dance when tragedy struck. Her date was speeding and lost control of the vehicle and slammed into the bridge. Lydia did not survive, but her spirit is said to have refused to find rest. However, some diligent research by paranormal authors Michael Renegar and Amy Greer found some truth to these legends. Renegar passed away before the news article that I used was published about the discovery, but Amy met up with them and told them the story that dates back to June of 1920. And of this, Amy said, she was coming home with her boyfriend from some dance, and she came in and they got into the curve and had an accident. They crashed and it killed her instantly. In the years following, the stories have been passed of a young girl or a young woman still lurking near the bridge where she was said to have lost her life. Amy said that she interviewed numerous people who have claimed to encounter her who have claimed to encounter her, and they all describe her differently. She said she just looked, as they put it, just horrifying, and so they took off. They didn't even allow her to get into the vehicle and go with them. Amy and Michael wanted more answers, though, and began to investigate the real Lydia behind Lydia's bridge. They discovered an article from 1920 that described a crash that left Miss Annie L. Jackson dead. According to the death certificate, Annie L. Jackson of Greensboro was already deceased when she arrived at the hospital at around 10:30 p.m. on June 20th, 1920, which is honestly fitting because this episode will come out like right around the anniversary of this.
Nice. I love it when it works out like that.
The certificate doesn't offer much more in terms of who she was, but it does state that she worked in the sample room at Vic's Chemco, and she was buried at Holt's Chapel on June 22nd. Her grave marker states that she was born on April 28, 1885, which would have made her 35 years old at the time of her death, and her legacy turned out to be much more than just some ghost story. Robin Mitchell Taylor is the great niece of Annie L. Jackson and said, I grew up knowing stories about Lydia. I'm born and raised here in Greensboro, so the local history ghost story is Lydia's Bridge. Robin said that she had been working on her family's genealogy when she learned that her great aunt Annie died in a car accident, and when she went searching for an article about it, that's when it all clicked. She said that she was at the public library reading it and said, oh my goodness, I think my aunt could be Lydia, and said that the more she read, the more convinced she was that they were one and the same. Robin reached out to Renegar, and he was ecstatic that he had identified the woman, and she found a photo of Annie L. Jackson in her family Bible. Robin said that she believes Annie L. is just trying to find her way home. Amy Greer said that since identifying the real Lydia, the sightings have slowed, or maybe even completely stopped altogether. She said, at that point, I felt like she was at peace. You know, it was like she wanted us to find that article for us to know her real name. Robin said that she still drives by from time to time in hopes of catching a glimpse of her great aunt. And today the bridge is out of commission as a operational bridge, but it still stands as a quiet landmark in Jamestown. The bridge serves as a unique intersection of history and legend where folklore keeps the memory of the past alive.
That's crazy that is, because you don't see stuff like that on a historical marker.
No.
But surely I'd Googled it, and
especially
it's there.
In places like North Carolina.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah. And it's even crazier that I picked something that would the anniversary of her death.
Right. I love it when stuff like that works out. Back to my side of things. In the great state of North Carolina, they fiercely protect the native Venus flytrap.
Yeah. Native?
That's what it says.
Go!
In 2014, the state upgraded Venus flytrap poaching from a misdemeanor to a Class H felony. Oh. These famous carnivorous plants naturally grow only within about 75 miles of Wilmington, making them a treasured native species. One well-known poacher reportedly stole nearly 1,000 flytraps.
Oh my God.
And received prison time.
Good.
Taking Venus flytraps from public land or private property without permission can result in severe penalties, including possible prison sentences for each plant taken.
Oh. Oh, wow.
Another,
That's like got to be like conservation efforts.
right.
Yeah.
Another one in North Carolina, it is illegal to hold or attend meetings while wearing masks, hoods, or disguises that conceal identity.
Oh.
What does that make you think of?
Oh. Yeah.
The law was originally aimed at preventing anonymous gatherings and intimidating organizations,
Yeah.
but its broad wording means even costume parties or mask meetings could technically violate the law.
It's like I say, law is vague on purpose. That's the one thing I learned. That's like the number one rule is the law is vague on purpose, and that's how they get you.
That mom just texted me back and was like, apparently the little girl's dad tried to do that from across the field the last game that we had. And she was like, no, that's mine and TJ's thing. I love it so much. In Dunn, throwing rocks in public streets is specifically prohibited. And this is something that we've seen kind of across the map so far. The existence of such a specific law suggests that there may have once been enough rock throwing incidents to warrant legal intervention. Additional versions of the law warn against throwing stones near people, animals, or vehicles. Also in Dunn, I got so tickled. Playing in traffic is illegal. So, you know, when we were kids, our parents would say, just go play in traffic. Be like, we're breaking the law if we do that. We're going to jail. Though it sounds obvious, lawmakers clearly felt the need to formally prohibit dangerous roadway games and activities. Yeah. All those kids were taking their parents seriously. I actually did try one time, and my parents were like, no. What else? North Carolina has several laws against driving on sidewalks. But again, in Dunn, and especially in Chapel Hill, sidewalks are reserved strictly for pedestrians, as they should be.
Yeah.
Cars, trucks, motorcycles, ATVs, and virtually every other motorized vehicle are prohibited from using sidewalks, and these rules were intended to keep the pedestrians safe and prevent reckless driving in crowded areas. Another odd traffic-related law claims that it is illegal to walk on the right-hand side of a crosswalk in parts of North Carolina. The supposed purpose was to organize pedestrian movement and reduce congestion, though it still sounds strange to modern ears. But I get it, because you're like, stay on one side. Because if you think about it, if you're walking this way, the right side is over here. But if you're walking the other way, the right side's on the other side. So you're trying to make sure that everybody's going in the right direction and not get congested. I wish they would enforce that in like downtown Nashville. Yeah. Honestly. Another strange transportation law is that empty beer bottles cannot be transported in a furniture truck. That's very specific. The origin is unclear, but apparently it was an issue at some point or another. Rollerblading on highways in North Carolina is prohibited. This one is obviously a safety concern. And you know what? I'm here for it. North Carolina states that criminals cannot collect reward money for turning themselves in. I wonder if that's like, how many people have tried that? Like there's a $10,000 reward for finding said criminal, and then the criminal's like, let me get that money, and turns himself in. That's crazy to me. And then the last one that I have for right now, the state prohibits traditional happy hour alcohol specials. According to North Carolina ABC Rule 2S.0232B, bars and restaurants cannot offer limited time drink discounts unless the same price is available all day. Food discounts are still permitted, but alcohol specials such as 2-for-1 drinks, discounted cocktails, or ladies' night promotions are illegal. Oh. The law was designed to discourage excessive drinking and discriminatory pricing practices.
Okay. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's like that was the whole thing when we used to go to, like, Silverados when we were just young beans. and we would go because it was free beer from 8 to 11.
Yeah, till 11.
And you
I
just
didn't
pay
even
a
drink
cover
beer.
charge.
I didn't even like beer, but I tell you what, I put down some beer.
And like
Did we have to pay to get in?
Yeah, we had to pay a cover charge.
I don't remember ever paying.
Yeah, because it was free beer. So
were ladies not free?
No,
I don't remember paying to get in.
Yeah, it was like $5 or something, or $8 maybe.
I definitely drank my money's worth then.
Yeah.
Hell, this day and age, one beer and you've more than exceeded.
And then at 11 o'clock, they would play rap music for an hour.
That's when it was time for the rest of the night, damn near.
No, it was only for an hour.
That was when it was time to go.
Yeah.
Remember that old man that always sat on the corner? Like, there was the walkway, and he was like an old man, always had a button-up shirt, and like it was usually a straw cowboy hat, and he always had a white towel hanging out his back pocket. I think about him all the time. I bet he's dead now.
Probably.
Anyway. Go on with your next one.
Okay. At the height of the Gilded Age, the construction of Biltmore House brought together the highest quality materials from around the world, technological innovation, and logistic coordination on an unprecedented scale. I did cut out a lot of the bits of the history of the building of Biltmore Estate, but I kept like the meaty bits because I was like, I don't know if anybody enjoys all the history aspect of these places, but I love it, so I'm going to keep doing it. But George Vanderbilt first traveled to Asheville in 1887 and fell in love with the sweeping mountain vistas and the mild climate. He began purchasing land in 1888. Much of the land he purchased was agriculturally overworked, and Vanderbilt hired landscape architect Frederick Law Olmsted, best known for New York City's Central Park, to consult on rehabilitating the land and planting formal gardens and siting his future home. So, like, picking out like the site of the future home. The preferred architect of the Vanderbilt family was Richard Morris Hunt, and early plans show a 6,500 square foot colonial revival country house. But Hunt urged Vanderbilt to build on a more proportionate scale with the size and natural features of his property. In the spring of I thought that this meant that the house was going to be smaller than 6,500 square feet, right?
Okay.
In the spring of 1889, Vanderbilt invited Hunt and his family on a 2-month trip to gather inspiration from historic manor houses and chateaus across England and France. And by the following year, Hunt completed the final plans for a 175,000 square foot French Renaissance Revival style chateau.
Not me being excited about, like, when we look at houses and stuff, being like, golly, this is almost like 2,000 square foot.
Yeah. In terms of materials, I did this with one of our, with the one, like one of our, I think it was in one of our New York places where it was like a list of like the materials in the house. So there were 9,973,638 pounds of. I had to write. Did you see how the way I had to write that out? Because I was
sitting here, because it's on like the next page down.
Yeah.
And I was sitting here like looking at it, and I was like, I would have had to type that out in words so that I could read that right. And then I scrolled down, and I was like, oh wait, there she goes.
Yeah. Because as I was typing that, I was like, I'm never going to be able to do that on the fly. I was like, I need you to know that I had to backspace and correct that like at least twice. So there were that many pounds of Indiana limestone, 133,000 board feet of white and red oak, the exterior walls are 16.5 inches thick. There are 74 exterior doors, 704 windows, and 38,000 bricks were produced on site daily.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And this was like a multi-year build. A letter from 1893 from a state management indicates that there were more African American employees than white employees at the time. Racial and class identity shaped the experience of construction workers, and while some photographs show employees of different races working side by side, payroll records suggest that the segregated crews just worked in the same areas rather than a full integration. And the vast majority of these African American employees held positions that required less formal training, and thus they were paid less. So, for example, a highly trained stonemason earned $3.50 per day, while a general laborer would earn about $1 per day. There were some exceptions. Blacksmith George Payne was being paid $2.25 per day in 1893, and a foreman named William Logan, who supervised landscape crews of other African American men, also was paid more than $1 a day. On various occasions during the building of the Biltmore, construction laborers would work together to make demands of management. These disputes were usually resolved amicably, and they give insight into the average job experience for construction workers at this time. Construction in the 1890s was incredibly dangerous work, and employees successfully requested that those injured in the course of their work would be given half pay in the event of an accident, a change from the previous policy of lost wages while recovering. So, I think prior, they would just not pay them if they were injured and couldn't work.
So I just wanted to add here that, because I was curious, that $3.50 a day in 1893 was good money.
Yeah.
It's today, I say good money.
Yeah.
Today, it would be about $128.42 a day.
Yeah. I mean, still probably not
$1, $37 a day.
Yeah.
It's not a livable wage.
No.
But
not even for like the highest paid workers. It's still not. I'm sure that they had like
I get paid a day.
Other jobs.
I don't even know. Hold on. I'm not going to say it out loud. I'm just curious. Do I have a calculator on here? I can't math.
I mean, you could type in what would, X amount of dollars today have been in 18 whatever. Is that what you're trying to figure out?
No, I'm just trying to figure out what do I currently.
Oh, what do you make a day?
I'm going to be real with you. I'm not real sure
pre-taxes
exactly
and deductions
how much I make hourly. I think it's. Oh, I'm going to be real. It's a little disappointing.
Yeah. See, that's why you don't... That stuff, none of my business. Workers also petitioned for shorter working days. They were all expected to work an average of 10 hours per day, 6 days per week. In 1892, carpenters complained of shortening winter days and requested to work 8 hours rather than 10. And in response, the estate installed special lights in their workshop instead. Not all demands improved working conditions for everyone, though. In 1893, the rail car, they had like their own rail car system that was like bringing in materials. Like they were able to build that to build this estate. But the rail car that was transporting employees to the site broke down, and the supervising architect, Richard Sharp Smith, requested that a new car be provided for white employees, quote, in strict accordance with their contract. There was no mention of any employees of other races in the letter, so it is unknown if or how they traveled to work that day. George Vanderbilt began to push for a completion deadline, and he stayed involved throughout the entire construction process, receiving frequent updates and photographs taken by those on site, as well as he would visit 3 times a year.
Just 3.
Just 3. And I'm sure that on the days that he was set to show up, everybody was on their best behavior. As work on the second floor began, Vanderbilt's desire to see his new home completed became an ambitious goal. He wanted to see the Biltmore house complete in time for the Vanderbilt family to gather there for Christmas of 1895. 1894 saw more work being done to the house, and despite efforts to meet the deadlines set forth by Vanderbilt, Biltmore House was not complete when guests arrived on Christmas Eve of 1895. The tapestry gallery, winter garden, and banquet hall were almost completely done, but there were several interiors that were not completed. Much of the work was completed by July 1896, but there were still some artistic finishes that continued through 1898.
Can I interject for half a second?
Sure.
I knew the name of this place that you were talking about.
Yeah, and it didn't.
It just registered, and I'm like, how did she not know that it wasn't going to be huge? Like,
well,
we just discussed going there.
Yeah. But, like, I don't know. I've never been, so I don't know how big it is. But, like,
looking at pictures,
when I was, like, reading that of, like, when he said it needed to be more proportionate and da-da-da-da-da, and with the features, and it was already 6,500 square feet, I was like, surely he's trying to talk them into a smaller house. No, this man wanted to be paid. So he, like, doubled, or he, like, not even doubled. No. He, like, multiplied that by 100.
Yeah.
I'm not good at math. We figured this out.
We don't math.
The other night. Today, Biltmore House is preserved as a National Historic Landmark, and preservation and conservation efforts include maintaining the 250-room home and its collections, plus the 8,000 acres of carefully managed gardens, forests, farmlands, wildlife habitats, and original estate structures. George died only 19 years later at the age of 51 due to complications from an appendectomy. The estate went to his wife Edith and later their only child Cornelia. It seems that the spirit of George has chosen this place to linger in the afterlife. When he wasn't out indulging his love of horticulture, George spent much time in the Biltmore's massive library. And it is here that he is most frequently seen by visitors. Staff have reported encounters with George's apparition, and he is most often spotted sitting in a corner chair absorbed in a book. There is also a second spirit said to roam the library, that of Edith's shadow, who was walking the halls calling George away from his books to join her. It is also reported that two distinct voices will engage in conversation in the empty room, and these have been attributed to George and Edith having ongoing discussions.
Not them having discussions even in the afterlife.
Quit
nagging.
There have been no sightings of Edith's second husband, Peter Gillette Geary. I want to say Jerry, but I don't think that's right. Though, who was married to her for 6 years longer than she was married to George. Cornelia Vanderbilt married a British aristocrat at 24. Aristocrat. At 24 and received her full $50 million inheritance at 25, and she had 2 children. Around 1932, she abandoned it all. She divorced, moved to Paris, became an artist, dyed her hair pink, and began calling herself Nilcha.
Hell yeah.
She never returned to Biltmore in life, and there have never been reports of her returning in the afterlife either.
Hell
She sounds cool as hell.
Right.
I mean, other than the fact that she, like, left her husband and
1932 and she dyed her hair pink?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
The article I used was a bit all over the place in terms of any hauntings, but something that I found interesting, if not a haunting, with that there are some creepy murals in the basement of the Biltmore. There is a room that has been dubbed the Halloween room because of these murals. There is a video on YouTube that shows a peek at the mural, and it is linked in my sources. The murals date back to when Cornelia was in residence, and they were part of preparations for a New Year's Eve celebration.
Oh.
Yeah. The website for the house indicates that the Bohemian Ball artwork was based on a Russian cabaret of the time, with the brightly colored murals of soldiers and witches and black cats and bats coming directly from the program for the show. The video also says that in this room there have been sightings of a drunk woman, and said that workers have reported screaming, whispering, and footsteps in the room. The Biltmore is also home to one of the spookiest pools that you'll ever see, apparently. It was state of the art at the time and held 70,000 gallons of water, was heated, and had underwater lighting. The author of the article says that it looks like the room was built to be haunted, with its elegant wood trappings, white brick walls, floor, and ceiling. Like, everything is white brick.
If you've never seen it, but you've seen American Horror Story, I think it's Hotel. Mm-hmm. That pool room where they keep all the caskets of the kids and the mother, mm-hmm. quote unquote mother, Lady Gaga's character. It's giving that.
Yeah. Guests have reported feeling nauseous or anxious, which could be from the design of the room, or it could be from lingering spirits. Because I guess the way it was described is it's kind of disorienting.
Yeah.
The way that room is built, and I'm sure that with the pool being empty, it doesn't that makes it a lot more disorienting. There are also said to be sounds of splashing and laughter coming from the drain, and it is said that there is a lady in black who haunts the room.
We love a lady in something other than white.
Right. There are rumors that a child drowned during an elite social gathering. However, estate management denies these claims, and there are no official documents to support this idea. There was, however, a documented tragedy that occurred in the Biltmore Shiloh Gate one night in 1922. Security guard Walter Brooks encountered 5 young men who had approached the gate with threatening intentions. The confrontation escalated when the men advanced towards Brooks. One of the men was seeking revenge for the death of his dog on the property, and it was later revealed that one of them believed that Brooks was responsible for killing the dog while it was chasing a deer on the property. In response to the action, Brooks fired his weapon and killed 2 of the young men and wounded another. Following just a 3-hour deliberation by a jury, the court found Brooks guilty of second-degree murder and sentenced him to 40 years of hard labor.
That's it.
Another dark chapter for the Biltmore is enmeshed in local lore that is centered on the old forestry compound, which was built in 1898. After serving as the Biltmore Forestry School until 1913, this building gained some notoriety for being a meeting place for illicit activities. There were reports of a young woman being murdered by a client. However, official records have not been found to support that. Visitors to this area describe lights operating independently in vacant windows and unexplained temperature drops even during warm weather. Encounters across the Biltmore estate range from apparitions to unexplained sounds. There are mysterious sounds of social gatherings that will echo through the mansion's empty halls at night, and staff members have reported the distinct sound of clinking glasses, orchestral music, and animated conversations that will emanate from empty rooms. These phantom celebrations sound like the grand parties that the Vanderbilts would host during the golden age of the estate. The main staircase also serves as a focal point for paranormal occurrences, with visitors experiencing abrupt temperature changes, and some have reported catching glimpses of shadowy figures ascending or descending the stairs. The sound of footsteps resonate through the stairway when no one else is around, and is usually accompanied by unexplained scents that drift through the area. The servants' quarters are below the main floor and are said to harbor dark, misty figures that will dart between the rooms and through the kitchen area. There are similar apparitions that are said to be frequent in the indoor pool area, which many believe signifies the continued presence of staff members performing their daily routines from a bygone era. And I said, to be honest, if you catch my ghost working, exorcise me stat. Get my ass to move on because I'm clearly going through something. Other unexplained phenomena permeate the estate, such as the scent of cigar smoke that wafts through the smoke-free mansion. Cold spots persist despite the presence and use of 65 fireplaces. But I did make a note that I wouldn't put too much stock into this because I don't know how consistent fireplace heat can be, especially when it's spread across 175,000 square feet.
Right.
So, like, I wouldn't put, especially if that's, like, specifically how this place is being
And I'm
heated.
sure it being that big, it's probably drafty.
Oh,
as hell.
yeah. I'm so sure.
Also, to note on the cigar smoke smelling thing, it does, for how long was that place smoked in? And you know that those men were smoking cigars.
Yeah.
And cigars are a very thick smell.
Yeah.
And that smell will never leave. It doesn't matter how much you've cleaned, how much it doesn't. It's going to be there.
Yeah.
This next thing you're about to say is the most terrifying thing I've ever heard of.
There are also sightings of a headless orange cat that roams the grounds and has been spotted by many visitors, but there is no historical explanation for its spectral appearance.
First and foremost, that's terrifying. A headless cat?
Yeah.
No. Also, it's an orange cat. That orange cat energy is chaotic.
Yeah. That's probably why. That's probably how it ended up in this predicament.
Curiosity. We know what that does to the cat.
Right. Originally created as a private retreat for George Vanderbilt and his family, the Biltmore estate has grown into a destination that invites the public to indulge in the grandeur of the Gilded Age. Today, it is not just a monument of opulence, but a hub of luxurious experience. There are tours available at the mansion year-round, and it gives visitors a glimpse of the lavish lives of the Vanderbilts and the world-class gardens designed by Frederick Law Olmsted. Ghost tours aren't officially on the itinerary, but if you keep your eye out, you might just catch George Vanderbilt flipping through his favorite books in the library or hear Edith calling out for him. At the Biltmore, the past isn't just preserved, it lingers.
So I was going to say, this place, I've said to you I wanted to go there before. Mm-hmm. Like, it would be a cool girls' weekend. I don't know that they would let us ghost hunt.
They probably wouldn't. I'll have to, so I've sent you a couple of his videos. That Mark Sebastian that does the Gay American Side Quests, he went there and had a horrible experience.
Oh, yeah.
So it really, like, his experience makes me really not even want to go there.
Oh, like the customer service there was terrible?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to look into it.
I'll have
got
to
some
find
really
it
cool...
and send it to you because he did this. I think it was during Christmas. Was when he was posting.
Christmas.
And like it was like they made it. They told him it would be fine to film, and then like he actually got there and then had a completely different experience, and it was weird. Like his entire experience in Asheville was kind of shitty. So I bet Christmas there, like outside of the customer service aspect of it, I bet Christmas would be gorgeous. Just the way they decorate it and whatnot. I would like to see it at Christmas, but they also do these things where it's like they project things onto the front of the building. That luminaire, type is what they call it, luminaire and grounds or whatever. But like it's beautiful. It looks like a painting on the front of this building, and it's beautiful. It's definitely somewhere I would think would be cool. They do like candlelight Christmas tours of the house and grounds. Oh, that would be nice. It looks pretty awesome. I would look into it. Yeah. But I would be interested in checking it out. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know that they would let us ghost hunt, but it's definitely somewhere when we get to that point in our journey here. I feel like that was one of the issues.
Probably.
But yeah, I'll have to find that video.
That might, because you never know. Like, if he's going there in the pretense of he's filming, but he's not telling them that he's filming.
See,
for ghost
I think
hunting.
that's like, I think he's up front, and I think most of these places he pre-books and reaches out, and then sometimes he gets there and they're like, well, actually,
Just kidding.
yeah. Or I think in this case, it was a little bit of, oh, you're gay.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I don't know.
I don't know.
But it was like a whole big, like.
But this would be driving distance from us. It's like 5 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, if for nothing else, if we can get past if we're not filming, there could be a good girl. We've never gone on a girls' trip weekend. No. We've just done like.
Just little road trips.
Day trip, but there and back.
Yeah.
Which were great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think it would be fun for us to go and just do like a relaxation type. I don't know if there would be any relaxation with the two of us.
Probably not. It just depends.
Dude, I'd be glad to just go like the fucking Holiday Inn and us just curl up in a bed and watch Secret Lives of Mormon Wives all weekend. Eating ice cream. Let's just live our bed. Oh my God. You remember that time we were eating cookies with the Reese's spread on top of it?
Yeah.
In your bed?
Yeah. Many moons ago.
Yes. Anyway, continue on. Oh, wait. Were you done?
Yeah, I was done.
Okay. My turn. Borrowing another person's horse, mule, mare, gelding, dog, or any other animal without permission is illegal. Even temporarily taking an animal without the owner's consent can result in a Class 2 misdemeanor, and the law dates back to the era when horses and mules were essential transportation and work animals, making unauthorized use a serious inconvenience. North Carolina also has laws that protect pine straw and pine needles. Removing them from private property without permission is illegal, particularly if warning signs are posted. Since pine straw is commonly used in landscaping, theft became common enough that lawmakers made certain violations a Class H felony. In Henderson, climbing or walking on the city water tank is prohibited. The rule exists both to protect the public water supply from contamination and to prevent dangerous falls from the structure. Makes sense.
Yeah. In
Mount Airy, silly string and snap-and pops are banned under City Ordinance Section 10-14. Selling or using these novelty party items within city limits can result in misdemeanor charges. It was likely intended to reduce vandalism, littering, and prank-related disturbances. But also, what a sad childhood.
Meanwhile, I fill my pockets at the Halloween party and throw them at kids' feet.
Right.
And then because it's grass, I throw them and they don't do anything, and then somebody comes and steps on them. That's even funnier.
So that's all the laws that I had, but I do have some inventions or firsts. North Carolina, which I found quite a few, and a lot of them were very interesting. I didn't include all of them because some of them I didn't have like a whole lot of context to. It was just like, here's this person that did this thing.
Yeah.
Or like, it didn't seem like it was really truly connected to North Carolina at all. On some of the stuff that I found. It was weird.
Yeah.
But North Carolina played a major role in the history of aviation, and I feel like we all already knew that.
Yeah.
Particularly in the development of flight and gliding. The state's connection to aviation goes back to 1903 when the Wright brothers made history at Kitty Hawk with the first successful powered flight. Y'all didn't know
that must have been so scary.
Right. Y'all didn't know y'all were strapping into it for a history lesson from me. Long after that historic achievement, the Outer Banks continued to serve as an important location for learning how to fly. In 1973, John Harris saw a photograph in the Winston-Salem Journal of someone flying an early hang glider prototype, an image he later described as life-changing. Inspired by what he saw, he and his friend Ralph Buxton opened a hang gliding school at Jockey's Ridge in 1974. It eventually became Kitty Hawk Heights and is now recognized as the largest hang gliding school in the U.S. Over the past 50 years or so, the school has taught more than 400,000 people how to fly. Harris has often explained that teaching people to glide in the same region where the Wright brothers experimented with flight feels like continuing their legacy and walking in their footsteps. And honestly, it's probably like a really cool full circle type moment feeling. The next one, Vicks Vapor Rub. It was invented in Greensboro in 1894 by a pharmacist with the name of Lunsford Richardson. The salve, or salve, however you like to say it.
Salve.
That's what I say. Became but I also pronounce the L in salmon. So that became famous for relieving congestion and easing breathing by releasing menthol vapors when rubbed into the chest. It quickly became the most successful product produced by the Vick Family Remedies Company during the devastating influenza epidemic of 1918. Sales skyrocketed from approximately $600,000 annually to nearly $3 million a year.
Wow.
Transforming the product into a household staple across America. Even today, Vicks Vapor Rub remains one of the most recognizable cold remedies in the world, and they even put them in Kleenexes, which are heavenly.
I love those Kleenexes.
Heavenly.
But like, I find it kind of burns a little bit on my skin.
Is raw. Yeah.
But I use like a different like homeopathic brand, and it's just as good. And I feel like it doesn't. Gentle. Yeah, it's a little more gentle on my skin. Because I'm sensitive.
Like it talks about rubbing it on your chest, and I think that's what most people do.
Yeah.
But for those of you that are listening that may have children, and it does work for adults too, but I don't generally do this. Rub that shit on their feet when they go to bed.
Yeah.
And it quits coughing. Also, if you've got wax burners, drop a little bit of water and like a small dollop of that Vicks in that wax burner and let that shit run all night while they're trying to sleep. And it just fills the air with like your house is gonna smell like Vicks for days.
That's whatever.
But
I don't mind.
Everybody breathes.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. Fan-freaking-tastic.
Good tip. I like that.
See, I'm here for you. When you're a mom and your kids can't breathe and they're keeping you up all night, you figure out ways. Because think about it, like you get those humidifiers and you can get the Vicks brand that has the little tablets that you put on it or whatever, that it's essentially the same thing just without the humidifying.
Yeah.
But you can go on with your...
All right.
You've got two more?
Yeah, I got two more. This one, strap in. It's a meaty one.
Hold on.
You see the name of it, right?
Yeah.
So don't get too excited.
Oh. You said strap in.
This one, I thought this was going to be a short one, but it ended up being a little bit longer, and it's more of I get to talk about one of my favorite things to talk about in terms of like historical, like pop culture moments.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So I say moments. It was a couple decades. I
already know where this is going.
We're still going through it. You know.
I already know.
So, in the rolling hills of southern Cheatham County, in the woods near Harper's Crossroads, lie one of the most famous haunted places in North Carolina. The Devil's Tramping Ground is a perfectly round, completely barren circle about 40 feet in diameter in the pine woods of Cheatham County. There is not a single blade of grass. Why did I put grade? I must have been tired. There's not a single blade of grass that will grow within the limits of the circle, and any seed that is sowed here refuses to sprout, and any vegetation that is transplanted here is certain to wither and die. Any object that is left in the circle before dusk will be moved outside its bounds by dawn. Some say it is violently moved. When dogs are brought near, they will tuck their tails and whimper and will dig their heels into the sand and refuse to be brought inside the circle. People have tried to spend the night in the circle, but not one has succeeded and maintained their sanity. It is said that something they see during their night vigil will drive them out of their minds and they will never recover. It is said that the Devil's Tramping Ground is named such because it is where the devil himself walks at night. Here, in his tramping ground, the devil will spend his nights pacing around and around in a circle, ruminating on the ways to bring human souls to eternal damnation. It is the scorching heat of his cloven hoof prints that kill off any vegetation, and over time is said to have rendered the soil barren. He is said to angrily move anything left in his path, and his great strength makes it easy for him to toss aside the heaviest of objects. When he walks in this private spot on earth, the devil will drop the illusions that he uses to disguise himself when he appears to humans, and in his natural state, the face of the fallen angel is said to be so horrible that no person can see it and remain sane. The mystery of the devil's tramping ground has been known in the area since just before the Revolutionary War, and the story has been passed down from generation to generation. Scientists have attempted to explain this barren patch of land, but nothing definitive has ever been proven, supposedly.
It's crazy looking.
Some other theories have been given for this cause of the barren patch of woodland, including that the place was the site of a battle between two rival tribes of Native Americans. Supposedly, the blood of those killed seeped into the ground so thoroughly that nothing would ever grow there again. The losing tribe fled from the mainland entirely onto the Outer Banks and became the Croatoan? Is that how you say that? Croatian?
Croatan?
Croatan? Croatan. Croatan.
Whatever. Croatan.
Croatan. Tribe that befriended the lost colonists. Others suggest that it is the burial site of a great native chief named Croatan, but they say that the gods keep the spot barren out of respect. Another theory is that the soil here is barren because the circle was once the site of a UFO landing, and the radiation from its engines exterminated the grass. Recently, a sign was posted that renamed the site as the Cheatham County Vortex, and claims that the site is the anchor of a Magdalene crystal column of energy. Magdalene energy is an idea that has come about in the past decade, and the theory proposes that the planet is surrounded by a web of divine Ma-ray energy that is an expression of a divine feminine presence. This idea bundles earlier English traditions of Jesus traveling to the British Isles at some point of his life, while also incorporating this into a mysticism based on Jungian psychology and feminist readings of Arthurian legend. So basically, there's a lot going on with this theory. But what might be most interesting in terms of the history of the Devil's Tramping Ground is that all of this is, that for the first time, the spot is being associated with positive supernatural forces rather than the standard go-to negative ones. This retelling of sorts is one of the things that make this spot so interesting. It is an example of how, once a place is identified as being supernatural or holy, that identification can persist beyond the culture that created the original association. So the original naming of the Devil's Tramping Ground is part of a deep American folk tradition, and the devil seems to have come to Cheatham County with the Scotch-Irish settlers who arrived in North Carolina during the 18th century. So, I have, in my genealogy, I've figured out that most of the people that settled here where we live they came from North Carolina. So, their origination was in North Carolina. And then they all scattered to the winds, and a lot of them came here. They would populate the course of the Cape Fear River, the Uharis, and the Appalachians. The settlers were primarily immigrants from Ulster and the counties along the border between England and Scotland, and the devil was a big part of the culture that they brought along with them. Long before the bulk of Scotch-Irish immigration to the New World, obsession with the supernatural had been running at its peak in many parts of the UK. Scottish-born James I, who ascended to the unified throne of England and Scotland in 1603, and I think we've even talked about this, was well known for being obsessed with witches and demons and wrote a book on demonology. Knowing a crowd pleaser when he saw it, William Shakespeare is said to have written the supernatural elements into Macbeth with an eye toward the superstitious king. That belief in witches, ghosts, and goblins was a real cultural fixation that came to America with those settlers. There is a lot of Southern American folklore and folk music that derives from these Scotch-Irish stories, and the devil was an essential part of these. And this is shown all over North Carolina with names such as Devil's Tramping Ground, Devil's Rock, Devil's Courthouse, Seven Devils, Kill Devil Hills, Devil's Branch, Devil's Chimney, Devil's Nest, 4 Devil's Elbows, 2 Devil's Forks, a Devil's Knob, which I immediately thought wiener, and even the Devil's Tater Patch.
Devil's Knob.
And I mean, we even I think there's a lot of areas that have like a Devil's Elbow. We have a Devil's Elbow, like not like real close by, but I've traveled it.
Yeah.
For reasons lost to history, the small barren patch of wood was at some point identified as a supernatural area. And as the cultural context around the spot shifted, the idea persisted even if the stories changed over time. This was about the point that I got started to get really excited about this. In Scotch-Irish tradition, the devil is a complicated character who is seen as both a comic figure and as an existential threat to humanity. There are numerous stories of the devil being outsmarted by mortals who trick him into using his power against himself. This complexity has diminished quite a bit since the Devil's Tramping Ground was first named, and our expectations of the devil have changed, but the convergence of pop culture and folklore playing a major role in this. After many years of movies, television, books, etc., we expect that that when the devil bothers to make a trip to the surface, he would be doing something a little more impressive than just angrily stomping around in a circle. This may be one of the reasons that the stories around the spot have changed so much in recent years. The threat of the devil in the woods has been replaced by other unseen threats. The interpretation of the site has been looked at through the lens of dark powers associated with Native Americans, which is pretty common in white American folklore. It is where the complexities of guilt and the need to establish a psychological legitimacy to the taking of native lands often casts the first inhabitants of the country as a great supernatural force that needed to be eliminated and often dominated, which gave European settlers a sense of legitimacy when they seized possession of the land.
So this is not going where I thought you.
No,
I thought it was going to tie into the satanic family.
Oh, it will.
Okay,
fret not. We're getting there. And then
that's what I thought you were talking about.
Yeah. So similarly, the tales of the Devil's Tramping Ground being a site for a UFO landing could have been a way to deal with the anxieties of the Cold War and the rapid changes in technology and social structure in the later half of the 20th century. Like, I've not really ever, connected the dots of, UFO, radiation, all of this being associated with the Cold War. I mean, little kids were hiding under desks because they were, they were training for in case there's nuclear fallout.
Right.
So, it just makes sense. So the threat went from demons to aliens. The unseen forces changed from magic to radiation. Didn't expect to get so deep this episode, particularly on this particular spot, but it is like I have been saying for years now. We tell these tales over and over again because this is what our good old friend Legend says, but they all derive from somewhere, whether it's the Satanic Panic or Cold War dystopian stories of UFOs or using the natives as an excuse for evil spirits. It all comes from somewhere, and it's important to keep that fact in the back of your mind when you read any stories like this. It's like, why there are always common threads, and that's why I always question the legitimacy of certain hauntings, and because it's always either a lady in white, or it's a Native American burial ground, and it's evil native spirits are keeping people away, and all that stuff, and it all stems from something. But through all of this, this mystical spot in the woods has remained. Whether or not the latest incarnation of the devil's tramping ground as a source of Magdalene crystal energy is true or will turn into legend itself, and whether culture has shifted enough that once feared ideas of supernatural are now embraced remains to be seen. Most visitors going to the spot expect some sort of supernatural horror show or Ma-Ray enlightenment that will likely find the spot somewhat disappointing. The circle has shrunk significantly over the last century, and it once measured 40 feet in diameter. It is now half of that size at 20 feet, and the salt content of the soil seems to be naturally fading enough that there is now grass growing there. And it seems that the primary thing that is keeping vegetation from growing there is the constant tramping of not the devil, but from visitors and local kids who use the place as a party spot. It also seems that whichever of the supernatural beings that we previously discussed that would like to throw items out, they now remain inside the circle, and the place is often littered with cans and food wrappers. A rusted refrigerator sat in the circle for many years and was eventually hauled away on the back of a mundane truck. It may be that the devil has simply given up and the proliferation of the modern litter bug is just too much for the Prince of Darkness to cope with. So, I really enjoyed that one. Even though it ended up being like a dud, I really got into the, like, that connecting the dots of, like, where these stories originate from. So, like, the Scotch-Irish people that came over here on a boat and were like, you know what? We want this. We're going to take this. And we're going to tell everybody you're evil. And that makes us feel better about doing it. And then the spot, like, it shifts from being, like, where the devil hangs out in the evenings, and just, like, stomps around pissed off, into, oh, a UFO landed here, and now it's like this, like, positive energy spot. You know, it's just watching that.
Yeah,
is in real time learning that. It was like the first thing that got me excited all week.
Now you can feel something.
I can.
Okay, back to our invention / firsts. North Carolina was instrumental in the development of headache powders, which became extremely popular among mill workers, tobacco factory employees, and laborers who needed fast relief from headaches caused by loud machinery, physically demanding work, and long hours. Before nationally distributed pain medicines became common, local pharmacists often developed their own remedies. Several of the country's best-known headache powders originated in North Carolina. BC powder was invented in Durham in 1906. Stanback headache powders, Stanback, was created in Thomasville in 1911, and Goody's headache powders was invented in Winston-Salem in 1932, and they became nationally recognized and are still associated with quick headache relief today. Funny story. I may have already told this. I'm going to tell it again. One time, when I was younger, my mom's at work. I'm at home by myself. I was in her bedroom for something, in her bathroom for something. And I happened to look upon her bathroom counter, and there is the white wax paper. I don't know what this is. I'm like, what is that? So I open it up gently, realize that there's powder in there. And I'm like, is my mom doing drugs? I was so confused. I called her and I'm like, Mom, what is this? What is going on? And she was like, it's a Goody powder. I left it in case you needed it. And I was like, I'm not doing that next.
I have never.
They work so
I know they work.
well. But like getting there, they're disgusting.
They're not also not good,
I'm sure.
Like if you should not be using those daily.
Oh no.
Like that's really bad.
Also, I'm pretty sure because like we would just raw dog it. I don't know how you're actually supposed to take them.
Yeah.
We would raw dog it and just pour it in our mouth and then swallow and then take a drink of something
I
to
think that's
help
what you're
wash it
supposed
down.
to do.
But like, it does not feel great in your throat.
No.
Next one. 2 of North Carolina's most iconic soft drinks, and I was real excited about this one because this is one of my faves, that were invented by pharmacists and beverage makers in the state. In 1893, Caleb Bradham, a pharmacist from New Bern, created a sweet cola originally called Brad's Drink. The beverage was later renamed Pepsi, possibly, which Pepsi is not my favorite. That's not what I'm talking about. We'll get there. Possibly because it was believed to help with dyspepsia or indigestion, and perhaps as a reference to the digestive enzyme pepsin. A few decades later, in 1917, L.D. Peeler of Salisbury purchased a cherry flavoring from a traveling salesman from St. Louis and used it to create cheerwine. I love cheerwine. I love cheerwine.
Gross.
Love it. We're going to Cookout. I'm getting a cheerwine. You already know. The soda was named for its deep burgundy color, which resembled wine, and for its cheerful carbonation. Both Pepsi and cheerwine grew into beloved beverages with loyal followings far beyond North Carolina.
You do put the pour powder directly onto the back of your tongue and quickly follow it with a full glass of water, which is 8 ounces.
Or I never followed it with a full glass of water.
Your favorite non-alcoholic beverage.
It was just a quick swig.
Yeah.
I'll be out here raw dogging like, at least we weren't snorting it.
Oh my God.
Moravian cookies originated in the Moravian settlement of Salem during the 1700s after Moravian immigrants traveled from Central Europe through Pennsylvania before settling in North Carolina in 1753. They are paper-thin cookies and are traditionally flavored with molasses, ginger, and cloves. Spices were expensive during the colonial times. The cookies were generally reserved for holidays and special occasions. They are famously difficult to prepare correctly due to how thin the dough must be rolled.
I bet they are.
But their challenging recipe became so well known that even Martha Stewart reportedly struggled to perfect them. Wow. Today, they remain a famous North Carolina treat enjoyed year-round. I'd like to try them.
Yeah.
Hold on, I have to sneeze, but also I have to pee, so this could be a very problematic situation.
I also have to pee.
I'm just going to keep going until it comes. The term nabs, still commonly used by many North Carolinians for packaged cracker sandwiches. This traces back to 1913 and the origins of what later became associated with Lance and Charlotte. The original nabs...
I was like, a cracker sandwich? What the hell is that?
Peanut butter crackers.
Yeah.
The original Nabs crackers were first connected to Nabisco products, though they disappeared decades ago.
I like the sour cream and chive ones?
Girl, same.
Oh, those are the best.
The tradition...
Necco ones, too. The Necco ones are good.
No, they're a little sweet for me.
I think, is it Necco?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
they're little.
They're like little. They kind of taste like Biscoff.
Yeah. The tradition continued when Philip Lance unexpectedly acquired 500 pounds of peanuts instead of letting them go to waste.
Unexpectedly,
he and his family turned the peanuts into peanut butter and spread it onto crackers, creating one of the South's most iconic snack foods. Even after the original Nabs products disappeared, the nickname survived as part of North Carolina's vocabulary. Listen, I think I've heard Nabs before.
I don't know that I have.
But I don't know that it's not something that I like commonly have heard.
Yeah. I
do love some peanut butter crackers though.
Me too.
I would prefer to have like the orange crackers with the peanut butter.
Yeah, I like the cheese crackers with the peanut butter. But like even just like here, if I've got crackers and peanut butter and I'm feeling a little snackish.
Girl, you just take, this is the way we did it at my house. You take your, like a butter knife.
Yeah.
Dip it into your peanut butter, get you a good little, as we would say, glob.
Yeah.
On your knife.
Yeah.
Then just tap it down to your cracker on one side, tap it on the other, and then pull that off.
That's too much peanut butter. I don't like that much peanut
Oh,
butter on mine.
it's got to be so thick with peanut butter that it's
and
like
I quite
hard to
literally will
chew.
just take the cracker and just swipe the knife on it and pop the whole cracker in my mouth. So,
other things that I do with just plain Jane saltine crackers, the cheap ones.
I just eat them.
Well, yes, I have been known to put mustard on them. That's tasty.
You nasty.
Oh, don't
Daniel
knock it till you try
and
it.
his family put butter on theirs.
I've done it.
I tried, wasn't a fan.
I got one that's probably going to throw you off. My dad and I used to do this all the time.
I'm the only one over there that will eat cilantro. Ugh. I got my own cilantro pack for Christmas this year for tacos.
Here's one that my dad and I used to do that I think his parents did as well. Mm-hmm. That'll throw you.
Did you put mayo on your peanut butter sandwiches or something?
No. Saltine crackers, just a couple of them, crush them up in a glass of milk and eat it with a spoon.
Disgusting.
Oh, it's so good.
Now, speaking of milk, something that used to and still will knock my ass out is a warm glass of milk. But I don't do it because it just sounds gross.
Yeah.
But like whenever I make like a cup of hot chocolate, I just heat up a cup of milk in the microwave and then add my hot chocolate in it.
That I will do.
And that will also do it. I figured that out one night. I was like, you know what sounds good? A cup of hot chocolate.
I will not make hot chocolate with water. Like I have done it in the past.
If it's like in a Keurig. But other than that, no.
Our preferred method is I will warm up milk on the stove and go that way. I won't put it in the microwave because I'm afraid it's going to burn.
Yeah, I could see that. But I just like will do it in like increments. Kind of like you do with like chocolate or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, whenever I would like stay over, because like I've been a lifelong insomniac and I have tried everything up to and including a handful of Benadryl to try to go to sleep. I don't do that anymore. I only take, if I need a Benadryl, I take it, but I take one.
Coming from the person that back in the day would take a handful of Benadryl and try and ride out the sleepy.
Yeah, but that was old me. Like, and that's probably why I was having to take so many to go to sleep. And then I got health insurance. And now I have appropriate medication to help me sleep. But all of that to say, I have been a lifelong insomniac. And like, if I would stay over at like my grandparents' house, I would have a very hard time going to sleep, like in particular. And so,
because it's not home.
On the occasions, I didn't stay over at like Granny P's house very often, but when I did stay over there, I would drive her insane because I had a really hard time falling asleep. So what she started doing was warming up a little cup of milk in the microwave for me. And then almost, I would say within 20 minutes, I was passed out.
Nice.
Milk drunk. Every time. Even now, it will still work. I just don't do it because it just sounds, it seems gross. And there were a lot of things that I ate as a child that I would never eat now. Because like me and my papa used to fight over sardines. It's disgusting. I'm not eating that.
So this parent that I was talking about earlier that her child does the clock it thing.
Yeah.
I told her, I'm recording my podcast right now and I had to tell the story. Obviously didn't use names. And she was like, oh, what's your podcast name? So I tell her she's literally listening to Spooky New York right now.
Nice. Hey, girl.
She says,
if you stick around, hey, girl.
Yeah, she says, I'm from Massachusetts and Dad's last name is Proctor. His relatives were John, Elizabeth, and baby Proctor from Salem witch trial. On my mom's side, her relative was Rebecca, nurse, I believe. So I'm definitely into this stuff.
Nice. Welcome in.
She said we're hilarious.
Thank you.
We're glad that you think so.
Thank you, girl. Was that all you had?
I have some more, but I can do those when you're done with your last one.
Okay. Before it was known as Queen's University of Charlotte, it was known as the Charlotte Female Institute when it was founded in 1857. Since then, the school has become co-ed, offers master's degrees, and is now located 3 miles from its original location, with Charlotte growing around it. In 1891, the college became the Seminary for Girls, and in 1896, it was changed to Presbyterian Female College, and it remained that until 1912. And in 1913, the school adopted the name of Queens College, and 1 year later, they moved to their current campus at Myers Park. After World War II, men were able to attend college at Queens. However, they could not reside on campus, and the school did not become fully co-ed until 1987. And in 2002, the school became Queens University. The university has long been known as one of the most haunted locations in Charlotte, and there is one particular spirit that haunts the campus named Albright Hall. This is a person, not a dorm, like I thought it was originally. I had to read the sentence a couple of times, and I was like, is that her name? In the early 1800s, Albright had moved onto campus to attend school. As time went by, she made many friends and formed several close relationships. Albright ended up developing feelings for a friend that were more than platonic. She had confessed these feelings to her friend, and the feelings were reciprocated. They began a secret romantic affair. One day, Albright's parents came to visit and discovered the relationship, and during this time, it was a big scandal. Albright felt extreme shame. Oh, I do want to say, I meant to read it at the beginning. There is a content warning for mentions of suicide. But Albright felt extreme shame, and this drove her to suicide. It is said that she slit her wrists, crawled into bed, and let herself bleed out, and not before using the last of her strength to write her lover's name on the wall in her own blood. Julie is what she wrote. Ever since then, students have reported seeing Albright wandering the halls of the dorm in the middle of the night, and blood is usually seen dripping from her wrists as she walks. Others say they can hear mysterious bumps and bangs during the night, as though someone who cannot be seen is walking around. A few students have said that they have woken up to find the name Julie written on their walls.
Nope.
There is also a legend of a young man who once attended the school that was perpetually unhappy, and one night he went to the main courtyard and hung himself. People who have been walking around campus have claimed to see the apparition of a young man hanging in the courtyard. The apparition is usually so clear that students have called the police thinking it was a real-time suicide.
Emotional damage.
Every time the police investigate, however, nobody is ever found. Another location that is said to be haunted is Belk Residence Hall. There was once a freshman girl living on campus that had stayed up late to study. She decided to take a brief break and walk down the hall to the dorm bathroom. When she got there, she heard the sounds of children playing and whispering through the vents. The sounds were muffled as if the children were several floors away. She brushed it off as being stress and decided to go to bed. Not long after she laid down, the girl's desk began to shake. She thought there must have been some sort of logical explanation and began to dig through her desk, believing that she would find something that would explain the rattling. She couldn't find anything. She crawled back into bed, and within an hour, her desk was shaking again. She was frightened and decided to report it to her RA. She got out of bed, and by the time she reached the door, her lamp flew across the room and nearly hit her in the face. She was worried about walking in the broken glass and reached for her slippers and pried them on. As she did, she heard a clicking noise behind her and turned to see an unseen force lock her dorm room door shut.
Nope.
She realized that the entity would not let her out of the room, and she turned toward her bed where a phone sat on the nightstand, realizing that calling for help was her only option. The moment she reached the phone, she turned to find a dead girl staring at her from inside the closet. One of the earliest hauntings at Queen's University began in 1913. A female employee was working late in Burwell Hall one evening, bent over her desk when she saw a female figure walk by her open doorway. She was certain that she had been in the hall alone and went to investigate. She got to the doorway and the lady had turned back to look at her. The woman warned her to not work in the building after 10 p.m., and without another word, the woman turned and disappeared down the hallway. When the employee went to lock up for the night, she saw a portrait that hung on one of the hallway walls. It was of Mrs. Burwell, the lady whom the hall was named after. When the employee looked closer, she realized this was the same woman who had warned her not even an hour before. But by this time, Mrs. Burwell had been dead for several years.
Crazy.
There are several spots on campus that are ripe with supernatural activity, and more recently, students have said that Wallace Hall is experiencing activity, and they believe it's some sort of poltergeist that has shown up and is playing tricks on students who reside there. Spiritual activity is not limited to the buildings at Queen's University, and it is said that if you wander campus at night, you could end up face to face with a ghost. And there are several claims of Civil War soldiers tramping through the grounds at night.
That reminds me, I need to write things down so I can remember to tell them. One thing I was going to say, this is my ADHD running rampant. I'll say it when we're done. Hold on. Okay. So for the last of my little bit, Texas Pete, the hot sauce?
Yeah.
Was created in Winston-Salem in 1929 by the Garner family, founders of the T.W. Garner Food Company. Customers had asked for... Huh?
I thought it would have been in Texas.
Customers had asked for a hotter barbecue sauce, but instead of simply changing the original recipe, the family developed an entirely new hot sauce. They chose the name
spicy barbecue sauce.
They changed the name they chose the name Texas because the state was so strongly associated with spicy foods and bold flavors, while Pete came from the nickname of the founder's son. Despite the name, Texas Pete is thoroughly North Carolinian, whatever, in origin.
I think it's Carolinian.
Here's a good one that we all love. Krispy Kreme. In 1937, when Vernon Rudolph, bless this man, opened a donut business in Old Salem, originally intended as a wholesale operation, the smell of the freshly fried donuts drifting through the air.
I'm sorry. Every time I almost never stop, but every time I see it, I'm like, the hot sign's on.
Yeah, right. When people would smell that and they'd be attracted and come on in. And so he finally cut out a serving window into the wall so that customers could purchase donuts directly from the sidewalk. The business exploded at that point, rightfully so.
Yeah.
And today, the famous Hot Now signs glowing outside the Krispy Kreme shops are recognized around the world.
I like that. My
favorite. Listen.
I mean, I wouldn't say they're my favorite donut. They're good, but they're not my favorite.
What's wrong with you?
I love a cake donut.
I'm not.
I love a cake donut. It's my favorite.
Miss me with Dunkin'. I don't care.
No,
Miss me with Dunkin'. Miss me with Shipley's.
Voodoo Donuts is also divine.
I'm okay. Like I've had one. It was all right. It was
very sweet, but it is very good. But a cake donut, the donut fryer in Gatlinburg, catch me there.
Moving on. Here's one for you. I included this just for you. North Carolina played a central role in the creation of modern stock car racing and NASCAR. During Prohibition, moonshiners modified and strengthened their cars to outrun federal revenuers while transporting illegal liquor through the mountains and back roads of the South. We've talked about this on a previous
There's
episode.
A Robert Mitchum song that's all about it. I love it. It's one of my favorite car songs.
So, in case you didn't know, once Prohibition ended, many drivers continued to race these powerful vehicles for sport on dirt tracks. And in 1947, former driver Bill France Sr. organized meetings that resulted in the formation of NASCAR, the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, officially founded in 1948. And today, North Carolina remains deeply tied to racing culture, with thousands of fans attending races at Charlotte Motor Speedway and visiting the NASCAR Hall of Fame to learn about the sport's history. Here's another fun one. Miniature golf was born in 1919 at Pinehurst. Wealthy landowner James Wells Barber hired designer Edward H. Wiswell to build a small golf course in the gardens of his estate. And according to our friend, legend,
it says,
one of the two men looked over the completed course and declared, "This'll do," inspiring the course's unusual name, This'll Do. Once newspapers and magazines featured the course, miniature golf exploded in popularity throughout the 1920s and 30s, eventually becoming a beloved pastime across America.
You know, I only went.
I put a T at
I've
the end
only
of
done
across.
I've only across.
I do it all the time.
I've only been mini golfing once.
I love it. I suck at it.
It's okay.
My short game is awful.
Yeah.
My whole game
I did
is
okay
awful.
at it. I did better than I thought I would.
I say that. Like, I'm not really great at, like, mini golf on, like, mini golf courses. Sometimes when I'm playing, like, actual golf, my short game can hit.
Yeah. See, I think because I'm so out of practice, I'm scared to swing a golf club big. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I think there's part of me that's like, what if I look stupid?
That's me every time I play. Honestly, I saw a TikTok the other night of this dude that's
and then I remember that everybody looks stupid when they play golf.
I saw a TikTok the other day of this dude that's like swinging his golf club like you would a baseball bat, but just swinging lower and fucking nailed it. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I kind of want to try it.
Yeah.
Moving on, I got two more.
Okay.
The agriculture heritage in North Carolina is often credited with the invention or early development of overalls. Remember, let's think back circa 2006.
I love a good pair of overalls. I wish I didn't look like I look in them.
What did I wear? In my senior pictures, nonetheless.
Oh, didn't you? You had overalls on.
That's all I wanted to wear.
Let's look in the archives. Let me find it.
While you're looking there.
Continue.
While historians still debate exactly who invented them, records suggest that individuals living in Clinton helped create and popularize the garment around 1859. They became essential workwear for farmers, railroad laborers, factory workers, and tradesmen because of their durability and practicality. And then our last one, Lunsford Lane, born into slavery near Raleigh in 1803, became North Carolina's first known black inventor. Though enslaved, he was permitted to earn money after completing his assigned labor. He invented a specialized tobacco pipe and also developed his own unique tobacco blend. However, because enslaved people could not legally hold patents, he was unable to patent his invention. Through years of work and determination, he saved approximately $1,000 and used the money to purchase freedom for himself and his family before relocating to New York. And his story still remains as an important example of ingenuity, perseverance, and the barriers faced by black inventors in the early American history.
I found it.
I told you.
All you can see is the strap, though, because it's just like a tiny little square. But
overalls with I think light blue or dark blue, possibly both, because that was back in the day of layering tank top.
Yeah, it looks like a light blue.
And I also had on flip flops.
Nice.
And was that one of my softball bat ones? Because I definitely posed with
all
my
it is
bat.
Is like a cropped. Like all I can see is your shoulder. It's like a cropped headshot. It's crazy how many of these people's mug shots I've seen. And like how many of these people are relatively successful as adults that I never would have imagined.
Right.
And some people who have vanished off the face of the earth.
Man, there's so many people that I'm like, I wonder what they're doing.
Yeah. There's several that I can see like on this page alone that I'm like, what are you up to?
So the stories that I thought of.
Yeah.
The things that I thought of. My ADHD brain heard Daniel moving in the other room, and I thought to myself, the nights that we record are probably like unbearable for him and his Pisces energy because he has to be quiet.
He's probably in there talking to Ziggy.
He's got to talk to somebody. I feel like he feels like does he like if he's not asleep by the time we're done, does he talk your ears off whenever I leave?
It depends.
Sometimes he talks my ears off before I can leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so cute, though. Listen, I wish y'all could have heard the shit we were talking earlier. Like, I'm so thankful for this man. And I love the relationship that y'all have. I truly am.
He's pretty great.
He is the best possible person that you could have found for you.
Yeah.
He supports your crazy, and
Yeah.
he like helps you be your fullest potential.
Like, it's crazy that, like, out of anybody, like, Daniel is the most stable person I've, like, met.
Right.
And is, like, got his shit kind of together. Is he a junk man? Yeah, he's a junk man. He loves to bring home junk. He loves nothing more. I can't get this book back in here. Anyway, I'll try later.
Does he love to aggravate the shit out of people?
Oh, he's 100% the best rage baiter I know.
He finds joy in it. We pull in the driveway earlier after going to get food. What does he do?
Donuts on the lawnmower.
And wheelies.
Yeah. And I'm like, he's going to tear it up. And then he's going to be like, I don't know why it keeps breaking.
Second thing that I thought of, I had a dream. Did we already discuss this? I know I discussed it with you.
Maybe.
You remember the conversation?
Vaguely, yeah.
Let me see if I can find it, because I don't remember all of the details anymore.
I'm going to have to pee very soon.
Yeah. This is quick because it wasn't that long.
I still think about that dream I had.
Yeah.
And to think, y'all almost didn't even get to hear that.
I still think that y'all, right? Because that was on that episode. I still think that that you should go and get a, like, past life reading or whatever to see if maybe that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here's the text conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You want my weird dream?
Okay.
I didn't dream overnight, but I had to get up at 6:30 for therapy at 7. After therapy, I laid back down for a nap before soccer. Then had the craziest dream. Even if you don't want it, you're getting it. And then you responded at this point with a chair. She was sat. Yeah. Okay. Me and the kids were home alone. Now I remember this dream vividly. Now that I've started it.
Yeah.
Me and the kids were home alone, all three of them. And TJ was not there. I don't know where he was. Mm-hmm. I've had two very vivid dreams where it's just me and the kids.
Yeah.
I started hearing stuff out front, and I looked, and there was a shit ton of cars in my front yard.
Yeah.
Not in the driveway, in the front yard.
Yeah.
I go outside, and there's, like, old men walking around with, like, old military uniforms and, like, the bayonets and all that, you know? So then I asked a guy what they were doing, and he said, and I think it was like a Civil War reenactment. Mm-hmm. And I said, in my yard? And he said, yeah. And I said, you couldn't give me a heads up that this was about to go down? And he said, oh, well, and just shrugged and walked off. And I was like, well, how long are y'all going to be? And he said, I don't know. And I said, you got an hour before I call the cops.
Yeah.
I was going to let them do it, but they better come on with it. And then the kids came out, and I told them to go in the house and not let the dogs loose. And, of course, they did, and chaos ensued.
Yeah.
And then I started, like, there was, like, random, like, trash, like, cups in my yard. And I started picking them up, and it was, like, McDonald's cups. And they had, like, the Monopoly pull-off pieces.
Yeah.
And so I was pulling them off, and there was, like, some random little boy that was like, hey, can I have those Monopoly things? And I was like, sure, here.
Them were the days.
But I think it was funny because this happened the night or the next morning after you posted your thrift haul where you had gotten whatever book, and it was like a Revolutionary War thing. So I don't know if that had it, but also we've had discussions that I think that there's some kind of, like, minor Civil War kind of situation going in my yard. So I don't know if that kind of plays into it, but that's the first time I've ever had a dream like that.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
It was crazy. So,
damn.
Anyway,
2-hour episodes in a row.
You guys are getting it this month. What's our nonprofit?
Saving Cheatham Animals Mission PAWsible SCAMP. Like I said last episode, in honor of Little Cat, I'm picking SCAMP again for this month's nonprofit. It has been a while since I've done it, so I felt it was appropriate to bring it up again. SCAMP is a 501c3 nonprofit founded in 2021. SCAMP provides financial support to facilitate services that include, but are not limited to, the medical treatments and rehabilitation of sick or injured animals, and improvement to shelter facilities that aid the quality of life for shelter animals of Cheatham County Animal Control. In short, we are here to raise money to help the animals at the shelter when the county budget can't meet the special needs that arise. And they are, as I mentioned last episode, they are a no-kill shelter, and they've got lots and lots of little kittens right now. So if you would like to donate directly, there is a link that will be down below in the description box. And while you're down there in our nether regions, you can fiddle around and find...
Fiddle around and find out that we've got a Facebook,
Instagram,
TikTok,
YouTube.
You can email us at wondersofweird@gmail.com. Send us those dear wanderers.
Yes.
Our stories.
Anything at all.
All right, guys. Have a great one.
Bye.
Okay, bye.